Call this 12:20 North College Hill City Council meeting to order. We will start as we always do with our prayer for the NCH City Council. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
We will call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
All right, good evening, everyone. We do have a special thing going on here this evening, but before we get to that, Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Present.
DeWald,
Present.
Underwood,
Here.
Miller Novak,
Here.
Zorb,
Here.
Blythe,
Here.
Anderson.
All right, Ms. Anderson did notify that she will not be joining us this evening.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I move that we excuse Ms. Anderson from this evening's meeting.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll second that.
Motion for Ms. Underwood, second by Ms. DeWald, to excuse Ms. Anderson from tonight's meeting. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWald,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe,
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. All right, you have tonight's agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. DeWald, second by Ms. Underwood to adopt tonight's agenda. Discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWald,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yep.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 or 6-0.
Thank you. All right, and you do have minutes from the 12-6 meeting. The second meeting in November, I have just about got those finished. We'll have those at the next meeting. And we have a special meeting and committee of the whole I'm also working on, so I'll hopefully have all those by the next meeting. But we do have minutes from 12-6.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Mr. President, I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Zorb.
Welcome.
All right, motion from Ms. DeWald, second by Ms. Zorb to adopt the minutes, or accept the minutes from 12-6. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWald,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yep.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. All right, now it said we had something special going on here tonight, and it is now time to get to that. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to Mayor Nichols.
Good evening, everyone. Again, this is another joyous occasion for us. We have now Lieutenant Wiley, and we're going to swear him in tonight. And first of all, I would like Chief Strand, if he would like to say some things, if he would do so.
Tonight is the swearing in and the promotional ceremony for Officer Zach Wiley, who is now being promoted as of tonight to lieutenant within our organization. It is a joyous occasion for you, and this ceremony always marks the change and a big change in your career. And so tonight is something that you should be very proud of, because there's not a whole lot of folks in any one department that can honestly say that they've succeeded and been such a professional that they've reached the rank of lieutenant. And as of tonight, you have done that, and we congratulate you for that. The only words of wisdom that I can give you are this: you are entering into something that, as an administrator or a first-line supervisor, is one of the most challenging positions that I think is out there. But at the same time, that is the most rewarding position and the most fun position that I've ever had, because it is so challenging. When you apply yourself to the way you have so far in your career, that I have no doubt that you will do a wonderful job. And I think that you in that role, even though it's that challenging, will enjoy it the way I have, and it's the most rewarding because you get to train and you get to see the officers and you get to see the way that you can make a positive change for the community in those officers that are going out there doing a day-to-day job. And I look forward to all the things that you can accomplish in that position. Congratulations and thank you.
If you will, repeat after me. I, Zach Wiley,
I, Zach Wiley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will perform the duties of a North College Hill Police Lieutenant,
that I will perform the duties of a North College Hill Police Lieutenant,
to which I am appointed,
to which I am appointed,
and will faithfully lead our officers to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully lead our officers to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let me sign.
I just want to thank Chief and Lieutenant Petroselli for their support and encouragement for me to take on this role, and also my friends who I've worked with, everybody in my family that's also supported me, who couldn't be here tonight. I look forward to this role, and I hope I can make a positive impact the way I have so far and the way I think I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we clap?
Yes.
And in talking to Lieutenant Wiley, we have his lieutenant bars, which signify on his collar the rank and the insignia that he now carries, and the responsibility that now goes forth with that position. And in talking to Zach, he asked for a favor. He asked myself if I would pin one on him, and if Lieutenant Petroselli would be willing to come up and pin the other on him.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Frank did it better. Sorry, I'm hot mic. I didn't realize it was on.
Yes, congratulations,
Thanks,
Lieutenant.
guys, and congratulations.
Thank you to all our officers that are here tonight to share in this, and thank you very much for what you do for our community.
Thank you. Congratulations. Take care. Be safe.
Okay. All right, that was good. Turn it over to Mr. Hedger with communication.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have communications from a Walter Drain Company for an invoice for the annual web hosting fee. It looks like the fees are increased by $50 for 2022 and $25 for 2023. The total invoice is for $440. And that is all communications.
Thank you, Mr. Hedger. Next up on the agenda is council committees, starting with City Community Development and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. President. We last met on December 13th, 2021. Ms. Anderson, on her agenda, she wanted to talk about where the committee was going, specifically rec programs, how we could partner with the businesses, taking into consideration the upcoming construction, as well as beautification and endorsement of the North College Hill CIC. There was very spirited discussion about youth recreation teams. There was, of course, some, people who wanted us to try and, discussion about why we couldn't. And so ultimately, Ms. Anderson asked Mr. Mosby if he could check to do a survey about what parents want in North College Hill to try to see if there's something that we can actually accomplish there. Ms. Anderson then suggested that we update Mr. Miller Novak's mural, started another spirited discussion, and ultimately that ended with Mr. Miller Novak volunteering to drive around, see if any business owners had an interest in a mural on their building. We talked about beautification. She mentioned she was wondering if there was a better location for the North College Hill Christmas tree where we can plant a purposeful tree, which had another good discussion about that, and then Ms. Anderson also suggested that we try to purchase the land from UDF and build an ice cream park, which led to another spirited discussion where there was a lot of, discussion about why we shouldn't do that. And of course, Ms. Dukestein discussed how it was a great idea. She really liked it. And Ms. Anderson ultimately just decided to ask Mr. Mosby to ask UDF if they're even willing to sell the property. So then Ms. Anderson wanted to, she discussed how we could partner with the chamber, the North College Hill Chamber of Commerce or Business Chamber. Taking into consideration the upcoming Hamilton Avenue construction, there was a lot of brainstorming about what we could do or ideas to try to encourage people to go into the businesses along Hamilton Avenue. There was discussion about why it was a great idea and why it was not a great idea, but ultimately we didn't really come to anything about that, but I believe that there will continue to be discussions about what we can do to try to encourage people to still go into our businesses during the construction project. Ms. Anderson did adjourn the meeting at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you. Next meeting, January 10th. All right, next up, Budget and Finance.
We talked about most things in executive session, so I don't have terribly much to report. But we did briefly discuss the salary ordinance that was presented to us, and that has been placed on tonight's agenda, I hope. I think it has, right? And We also discussed the law director's contract, and that should be on the agenda as well. And then finally, we talked about the cleanup ordinance, and that is on the agenda as well. So those are the three things we did, and they're all here to talk about again if needs be, but they're all here for their first readings. Our next meeting will be the second Monday in January.
The 10th.
The 10th it is, at 7:30 PM, right here.
Thank you, sir. Next is rules and public policy.
Thank you, Mr. President. We haven't met since our last council meeting. Our next meeting will be next week, December 27th.
Thank you. And public safety.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be December 27th.
Thank you. Any ad hoc reports?
There was a CIC meeting, however, I did not attend. I believe Ms. Blythe attended.
Here's some notes from CIC for last Thursday's meeting. We had a very good meeting. We also had a potluck. So I'll start off. This is a statement. Per Dan Brooks, North College Hill should have 2 code inspectors. One of them should be located in the police department. And he said that information came from the 2008 comprehensive plan, which was approved. And second is per Robert Hall, one of the CIC members, we need to have rental fees and grass cutting fees in a separate account. There are only certain things that North College Hill can do with this money. One example would be a hold for salaries to cover the code enforcement officers. And then at this meeting also, it was determined that the CIC, Chamber of Commerce, along with the Jim Freeman Jewish Federation, would like to update the Isaac N. Weissman Park. It is the park located between Family Dollar and Fifth Third Bank at the Goodman-Hamilton intersection. And also, due to, I guess, citizens on North College Hill Talk or Facebook, they were asking questions regarding the Beach Knoll property. Per Jim Cook at the CIC meeting, he said the owner of the Beach Knoll, the old nursing home, had previously wanted $2 million for the property and has received multiple offers, but none have been accepted so far. So to the citizens, that is why the property is still, nothing's going on at that older property. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blythe. Any other reports?
I'd like to add to her report. They gave a mapping of the rental properties in North College Hill. It is absolutely amazing when you see how many rental properties are actually represented there. I mean, it will really shock you. And then the other thing that I wanted to put emphasis on that she said is that per the 2008 comprehensive plan, we have a responsibility to look at the code enforcement employees and how many we have and what we should be compliant. I think there's some law behind it, and we're not actually in compliance.
That's what Jim
Mr. President,
said.
Ms. Nichols?
I believe that was from the police levy, where that extra code enforcement officer was there. I don't believe it was from the comprehensive plan. I believe it was included with the police levy.
Okay. Any other ad hoc reports?
Mr. President,
Ms. Orb?
I'm curious, Ms. Dixon, do you have a copy of that rental thing that you could send to all of council?
I don't have a copy of it. Someone did a life-size of our city. It was huge, but I can contact them and take a picture or something and get it to all of us, so I'll take that responsibility on.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Thank
President.
you so much.
Ms. Zorb, if you would like to see it, it's in the office, and you probably can take a picture, a snapshot of it. It's probably from here to there.
Okay, thank you.
And, sorry, Mr. President.
Ms. Dukestein?
They came up with some really good ideas, but I think we were on the right track when we were talking about the grants and retention of our existing homeowners, plus some ideas to retain future or to gain future homeowners in our city. Because after you look at that map, we will definitely appreciate that something more needs to be done.
Okay, any other ad hoc reports?
Mr. President,
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the administrative reports. Good evening, Madam Mayor. The floor is yours.
thank you, Mr. President. I didn't have anything, but I wanted to add on to what Ms. Blythe and Ms. Dukestein were saying. I do believe that once the comprehensive plan is completed, what I found just from reading, looking over some things, the 2008 comprehensive plan, there were some things that they suggested that was never done. I think we need to be really vigilant in making sure that it's accomplished. One of the things ties, goes in line with how council wants to do the assistant program with the homeowners, potential homeowners. So I believe that once this plan is done, I really think that as a whole, we need to be diligent in how we, pursue it and make sure that some of the things that are suggested that we follow through. Because just from the 2008, they wanted to do homeowner classes. They weren't done. So I think if that's one of the suggestions in order to maintain ownership, we need to do that. And I just want to tell everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. That's all I have.
Mr. President, I do recall over 6 months ago, before Ms. Amber Bailey resigned, she urged council to read the 2008 comprehensive plan, and I did start reading some this evening, and it's really detailed and really good plan. Only thing that I noticed is when it begins, it had taken a lot of census information from 2000, so I think getting the new plan will make us more up to date on our statistics, but the general idea of the plan was well balanced, and I've only read like 20%, but it seemed like it was a really, really good plan for the city. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the city administrator's report. Good evening, Mr. Mosby.
Good evening, Mr. President and Mayor and members of council. I basically only wanted to convey one point tonight that I spent a great deal of time with Mr. Dieters today. He wanted me to convey to council during the last meeting, I believe it was at the Finance Committee meeting, there was a request about the class action lawsuit. He did go ahead and submit our filing for that, which would include us, but he did want to know if there was a desire or wish from council to adopt a resolution on to that end. I will tell you that I have spoken to several municipalities, and it's kind of been a mixed response. Some did and some did not. So I told them that I would make sure to convey that, and then if council desires to pass a resolution, then he can draft that paperwork.
We already did it. As in, like, we passed it.
Okay.
Yes, it was
all he asked me to do.
Thursday night at a special meeting.
You had the flu.
Mr. President,
Ms. Orb?
so is it safe to assume that we're not in the class action? Because I thought the deadline has already passed by now.
No, as I said, he had already submitted the filing to include North College Hill. And what I was just simply saying was that I had just talked to other municipalities, And some did file a resolution, but some did not. But in all cases, they all became party to the suit via the filing, the internet filing, which is what he's done already.
Perfect, thank you. I did look a little bit deeper into that, and it looked like for North College Hill, there's a potential of either $27,000 to $39,000 that come from that. So I don't, nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's not.
So thank you, council, for stepping up and
Yes.
making that happen. Thank you.
All right, are you finished, sir?
Yes, I am, Mr. President.
All right, next up is the law director's report. Law director's not with us this evening. Next is the finance director's report. We do not have a finance director with us this evening. So we will go to call of members. Ms. Dukes-Dean.
I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Congratulations to the lieutenant and Happy New Year. I'm very excited about the holidays. I hope you guys are too.
Ms. DeWald.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ms. Zorb, for bringing us the information that we had a special meeting on to get that going. Like you said, 27 to 39,000 is nothing to sneeze at. I would like to ask again where we are with Miss Meinke's unlawful dumping on her property. I know you said it had to do with an LLC. Are we moving forward on that?
Well, Mr. Knight was not in today, but he is, as I mentioned the last time, he is the one who is working with Ms. Meinke as well as the property owner.
Okay, and like Miss Underwood's Prospect Place, this is going to be my issue to want, because my heart breaks for her. And also, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope everyone stays safe. And bottom line is, I would like to wish someone in this room a happy birthday tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, and that's Mr. Hedger. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. DeWald. Ms. Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first like to say congratulations to Lieutenant Wiley on his promotion. I would also like to give a shout out to the North College Hill Police Department. When I was at the Kroger store the other day, I noticed that there were 3 cruisers out there with lights blazing. And of course, I didn't know what was going on, but I figured that there was something happy happening, because nobody talks about the happy things, everybody talks about the bad things. So I've come to learn that it was a Crammer cruiser. They received a lot of monetary donations as well as food donations, and they donated all of those items to the local food pantry. So they went and they were at the Kroger store for a long period of time. And my understanding is that they did that all for the citizens of our community. So thank you to our North College Hill Police Department for doing that. Also, I would like to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa. That is all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Mr. Miller-Novak.
Yeah, I mean, it's our annual Christmas special here, so Merry Christmas to everybody. You won the award for Flair this year, Ms. Dukes-Dean. Mike, you're runner-up with the tie, I suppose.
I don't see my socks.
Oh.
How am I doing now?
Not bad. I mean, I didn't need to see all the leg above the socks, but yeah, the socks look great. Man. My grandma used to call those white, milk jugs for some reason. I don't even know why. Didn't make sense to me, but they're bone white. Anyway, so, Merry Christmas. I'd like to congratulate the lieutenant. It's always kind of fun when we get a special event, to see someone get promoted or hired or retire or whatever. So to get to know our officers a little bit. I think one thing I did want to bring up, and I know I'm not on rules and public policy any longer, but the new year is coming, and it sometimes is a good time to revisit our council rules, and maybe at some point we should do that after the new year. I was kind of looking at them, and I just had this thought that our council rules are extremely overly complex. I like seeing other cities. I just like looked at them. I'm like, my lordy, they're so long and they're very convoluted, and I think it causes us more problems than it helps us. I know there's issues sometimes when we try to submit certain legislation, and then we end up having arguments about where it has to go first and things like that. I don't think they allow for a lot of flexibility. I've seen other city councils' rules that are significantly shorter and less convoluted than ours. I was wondering if maybe we could reach out to our law director and see if he has some examples from other places. I think what happened once upon a time, if memory serves me right, is that these were taken from the city of Cincinnati, where council members have staff members. So maybe the rules are a little bit more complex than our smaller city needs or should have, because I think in the past, one of the biggest criticisms I have of us as a public body is we spend entirely too much time debating how we're supposed to do the things we're supposed to do rather than doing things. And I think that's a huge problem. I think it's a massive problem. I've been at many meetings where it seems like there's an hour-long debate about how to do something when we should be spending all of our time I call it the North College Hill filibuster, but we should be spending more time focusing on,
Like a filibuster.
what's that? The North College Hill filibuster, where you just like argue about the rules forever. But I think we should start to think about simplifying those things. I mean, certainly our charter adds a lot of guidance in terms of what a quorum is and how many people need to vote on an emergency, so on and so forth, how many readings there need to be. And I think we need to think about a lot more flexibility. So there's less time spent on trying to figure out things or debate our council rules that are really somewhat rather profuse in terms of their volume, as opposed to focusing on accomplishing things for our residents and our business owners. So something I'd like to throw out when the new year is approaching. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Miller-Novak. Ms. Zorb?
Sounds like that filibuster ended with Mr. Miller-Novak wants back on rules and laws. Not sure. It's kind of what I gleaned from that. But I'd also like to say Happy New Year, and you absolutely won the award tonight for the sweater. Nice. I didn't see the socks. I don't need to.
I'm not sure.
I don't want to see
All
them.
right. Yeah, so I guess just like everybody else, yeah, it sounds like a broken record now, but it's sincere. Congratulations, Lieutenant Wiley, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Blythe?
Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy New Year's to everyone. Just as a note, I've been here on council for roughly 13 months, and when I have to look at the charter or either the rules of council, I think they're very well written. I don't think they're too long, and it seems like a lot of trial and error and history have went into the making of the charter and the rules, and I really don't think they're that long, but I think almost all the answers that we need to questions of procedure can be found in these two documents, and I think they're very good documents, and I can tell that decades have been put in to the making of these documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blythe. All right, next on the agenda is remarks from the audience. I see no one in the audience, so I'll assume no one has signed in. That'll bring us to legislation. Mr. Hedger.
Thank you, Mr. President. First reading, Ordinance 9-2021, an ordinance making appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of North College Hill, Ohio, for a period beginning January 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022. First reading, Ordinance 10 dash,
Yeah, slow down, man.
sorry.
You got something?
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'd like a little discussion on Ordinance 9, if I could, please.
ma'am.
Under, this is, again, we're running in a little wheel here, under the law director. it has $72,107. Now, I know this is just proposed, but would it be unreasonable to put in there the contracted amount of $54,000? And then if he needs more, or if something needs to be changed, then we can put this like in a professional services line, and then we'll have to come back and revisit that. Anybody?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I agree with that, actually.
Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Okay, so.
Well,
wow.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, Mr. Miller Novak.
Well, I mean, I'm a little split. I mean, it's fine when we're talking about a contracted amount, but we haven't also passed that contract yet, which, you know, spoiler alert, I plan on voting for it. But, you know, I mean, there's that alone. So, I mean, I guess I don't theoretically mind it, but I also, at the same point in time, think that I don't want there to not be enough money. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be in the salary place, but I don't want there to be not enough money if we need to hire other counsel, like for a bond or any other number of things we might need to get outside counsel for. That's all, because those things can be emergencies. Like, we could get a notice of a suit, there could be something that we need to get outside counsel for, and it would need to happen quicker than a month and a half, for instance. And if people aren't willing to, like, waive readings, I just don't want to put us in a place where we can't afford to pay a retainer to outside counsel because, you know, we've only appropriated the exact amount for a contracted amount. So,
Mr. President,
Ms. Ward?
I feel like that's kind of where she was going with the professional services line item versus the salaried line item.
yeah, if we're talking
If
about
we just
moving it, then-
Moving it, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as long as, like, Ron, do you feel comfortable that, like, if we needed to pay a retainer, that we could use it from that other line item? Is there any reason we couldn't?
It wouldn't come from salaries anyhow.
I mean, potato for me. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really have a problem with it as long as I feel like we're moving the 20,000 or whatever to a line item that can be used for essentially the same purpose, which is like we're in a bind or we need to hire outside counsel for some reason, right?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I believe that all Mr. Wald, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, you know, correct me, but I believe all she's asking to do is not take it away from this department, which is law director, but just take it from that line. So make that line 54,000, and then put the remainder under the professional services line. So it's still in that general area. My understanding is that, you know, it can still be used for that purpose. It's just that we would know about it before it occurred. So I believe that's what she's trying to say, and I can get behind that. So, you know, spoiler alert, I'm gonna vote for that.
Mr. President.
Mr. Miller Novak?
No, I don't have a problem with it. I just want to make sure they can be spent on that. It's my only question. So, again, I think it's a potato situation. I'm fine doing it. As a matter of fact, I feel like we've flogged the budget to death. So I'd be satisfied suspending the readings and getting it done with that amendment tonight, as well as the law director's contract and the raises for unclassified employees. But, I mean, that's me. So I don't have an objection to it. I just want to secure the fact that if needs be, we can still use the money in a different line item for the same exact purpose that it was there for.
Mr. President,
Ms. Orr?
I feel like we're at that point where we talk about it more than do it. So, Ms. Dewald, do you have other lines to talk about also, or is that the only one? Or do you just want to make a motion, or? how you
I
want-
did at one point, but I sent an email to Mr. Mosby, and I don't have the answers yet, so I know that they'll be forthcoming. so I'd rather not drag those out again. So I am ready, yes. I'm done.
Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get back. I make a motion to change line item 101-706-521120 to $54,000 and put the remaining in the professional services line, which is 101-760-523-402.
And my rough math would say that's roughly $18,000.
I don't think we can have rough math on
That's my rough math, so, I mean, obviously, she's saying the remainder, so.
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
All right, motion by Ms. DeWald. Second by Ms. Underwood. To change line item, and I'm gonna shorten it here, 521120 to 54,000, and the remainder from that $72,107 would go to line item 523402, and add that to what is currently 15,300. Please call the roll.
Dukestein.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Yep.
I'm
Ms.
trying to
Zorb.
do some quick math. So are you saying it's, what, 33,300 as a total? For the,
So I guess
Line
not
iteming
rough
and
math,
fire.
it's $18,107 that would move.
I'm looking for the total that's going into 523,400.
That's going into, or what it will be after?
What it will be after, sorry.
That's not the line she mentioned. I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes,
President.
Mr. President,
What,
I think I misspoke, and Ms. Underwood was on that trail.
400?
It should be 523-400,
Yep.
and I called out 523-402. Would you like me to withdraw my motion and start over?
No, I'm working with that. You go with that, Mr. Hedger, you got it?
It's fine.
Thank you.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWald,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes,
Miller Novak,
Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
No.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you, Mr. Hedger.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I have a question. So if we don't suspend the readings and pass this budget today, do we have to have special meetings to come back and do that? Like, we have to have a budget passed before the new year, whether it's this one or some temporary thing, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna try. Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I move that we suspend the second and third reading for Ordinance 9-2021.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, motion by Ms. Underwood, second by Ms. DeWald to suspend second and third readings on Ordinance 9, 2021. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes,
oh, excuse me,
Yes.
DeWald. Sorry, DeWald,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yeah.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
No.
Motion passes 5-1.
Motion fails.
Oh.
We
Failed.
have to have six.
Suspension,
Pass.
Suspension.
sorry.
Daggers.
I forgot the rule.
Yeah.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
so should we schedule our extra meetings now,
No, we can do that.
do it later?
New business.
Okay.
Joy.
All right, next reading, sir.
Ordinance 10-20, or excuse me, first reading, Ordinance 10-2021, and ordinance amending the amount appropriated to various funds of the city of North College Hill.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
we were just given attachment A, the updated one, just this evening. So because we're going to have a special meeting, I would like to add this to that special meeting.
Might as well.
We're not there yet.
What's that?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I think that's a great idea. Why don't we just, you know,
I just
we'll
keep
just kind
coming
of
up.
spend so much time together. Like, that's exactly what I want to do this week, is
Okay, we'll
spend
make
more
sure
time
that
with
it
you
will
guys.
be
Mr.
on the
Graver.
agenda. Ms. Zorb?
So I just want, because like Ms. DeWalt said, we were just handed this minutes before we came in here. I just want to be clear on the changes. I did not have time to do a cross-check. So everything that is changed has the word revised by it. Is that true?
That's correct.
So be prepared, because I'll have lots, I can either ask the questions tonight or do it at the special meeting. Oh, Mr. President.
Ms. DeWald?
Sorry. I have questions. You know, after the first question, it may simplify things, or it may go into detailed questions. So would you like them tonight, or? I tell you what, do you think you'll be at the special meeting, Mr. Mosby?
Don't know when you're going.
Depends on when we have it.
He'll probably be with his family.
All right, may I ask just one question, Mr. President?
Please do.
My notes from the last time said that the red means more than estimated. So it's a negative red. So that means it's more money than we expected. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yes.
And if it's solid, all black numbers with no plus or minus in front of it, what does that mean?
It did not meet expectations. So if you look, for example, at, let's use, if we use franchise fees, for example, it says estimated 100,
Where are we?
just,
Oh, I see it. Okay, I see it.
so, in other words, in the budget, we, for 2021, we had estimated 115,000.
Mm-hmm.
We actually received 79,194, which means that we missed that expectation by $35,000.
Okay, so I'm definitely on the wrong line, because those numbers don't match up on my sheet with the franchise fees.
Yes, that is not accurate.
Yes, I'm not
She may-
accurate.
Okay, I may be looking at.
It's 105 is the actual on franchise fees.
Okay, so Mr. Mosby, if you held it here instead of over here, it would be easier to read.
I think I'm reading from.
Right.
An older.
Oh, okay. Okay, so again, we estimated 115,000. The actual was 105,000. And so we're in the hole 9,000 and something. Am I,
Yes, in other words, if that number is a dark number, a black number, that means that we did not meet revenues by that amount of money
okay,
in that area.
okay. Okay. That settles a lot of my questions.
So you're good for now?
I'm good for now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am. Next reading, Mr. Hedger.
First reading ordinance 11-2021, an ordinance to establish salaries and staffing levels for the city employees pursuant to the requirements of section 3.06 of the City of North College Hill Charter.
Mr. President,
I think I had Mr. Miller Novak first.
I'd like to move the suspend readings of this. We've been talking about it for like a year.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood,
I'll second that motion.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb.
it was my understanding that there was going to be, maybe I'm missing it. I thought there was going to be something that said there was a going into effect date, and I don't see that on here. I thought we discussed that. I know we discussed that.
I believe we did too.
We did.
Am I overlooking it?
No, it
Somebody else
isn't,
see it?
Mr. President.
Ms. DeWald?
That I can tell, that is not in here.
It's on section, I'm sorry. That's number, is that 10? 10. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Give me a pen.
Oh,
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
let me withdraw my previous motion. Let me make another motion.
Yes, sir.
I motion that we amend Section 1. Everybody follow with me the best you can. The following salaries and staffing levels are set as listed below, comma, change the period to a comma, to begin and take effect on January 1st, 2022, period.
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
And then I can hand this copy to Christian.
All right, motion from Mr. Miller Novak, second by Ms. Zorb, to amend Section 1 to add a comma, and then it states to begin and take effect on January 1, 2022. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
yes.
Miller Novak,
Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion
Mr. President.
passes 6-0.
Mr. President,
I had Mr. Miller Novak.
okay.
First, good catch. Second, I assert my motion to suspend readings.
Mr. President,
Underwood.
I have he has a motion on the floor, so I'll wait for the discussion
Yes, ma'am.
part.
Mr. President, I'll second.
All right, so this is
Mr.
11.
President,
Ms. Underwood, discussion.
so we had discussed previously changing the meaning of seasonal workers, because right now it says that the season runs from mid-April to mid-October. And there's been some confusion, consternation, and I think that we can avoid those issues by just taking, I don't understand why we can't just take that entire line out, or redefine what a seasonal worker is.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
Ms. Underwood, just to kind of put this in perspective, the reason this was originally added to, this is, I'll say, 4 to 5 years new to the city, this little portion. And that was put in at the time because we had, the city was hiring contractors to do grass cutting, and the contractors were under no obligation to respond to our request to go cut grass. So if they were committed to go somewhere else, they would go somewhere else and put us on the back burner. And so the city administrator at the time, this is prior to Mr. Mosby, the city administrator at the time, said she would like more control of that aspect. And then so these positions were put in as temporary grass cutters that were more, that's probably a bad terminology to use, under control, but under the more direction of the city to follow requests on a more timely response. Did I phrase that easily enough? Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr.
So,
President.
Mr. President.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Underwood.
Okay, so I guess my issue is that Well, first of all, I think that what we can do is just direct Mr. Mosby if the person we're contracting with or the person we're trying to hire to cut the grass doesn't go and cut the grass in a timely fashion, that we just say thank you, but no thank you, and we find somebody else, because there are many landscaping businesses who will be happy to get a regular paycheck from the city of North College Hill. So, yeah, there's that. And the second thing is that, there are people, or there was, someone hired outside of this range. So I just want us to, it's there, but it's not really there though, right? Because if, somebody, I don't know. That's just kind of me.
Mr. President?
Ms. DeWald?
Ms. Underwood, you're exactly correct that it's there, but it's not there. So when I asked Mr. Mosby about this particular position, he said yes, he was a seasonal worker, but yet he's still working with us. As a matter of fact, I just saw him, I guess it must have been Friday, in one of the trucks with one of the other employees. So I know he's still here. Is there a way, so should we add him as a separate line item and keep the two seasonal? Because I don't know where we are with this. If he is a seasonal worker and still here, then he's a seasonal worker making $13 an hour. So make it one seasonal worker? I don't know how. I mean, there are teenagers out there who would love a job making $13 an hour. So is it possible, like Ms. Underwood said, to just scrap that seasonal or make it one seasonal and one part-time?
If you were going to make any change, Mr. Wall, I would probably just recommend that you make one permanent part-time employee and then two seasonal.
And then two seasonal?
Correct.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'd like to make a motion to act on Mr. Mosby's recommendation, and that is to put two seasonal and one part-time in the Public Works.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I know I sound like a broken record. So for clarification, we're leaving this as is, and we're just adding one permanent, part-time individual at $13 an hour.
The hourly wage wasn't discussed, but that is the recommendation, so it might be a good idea. I guess we really could we discuss the salary at this time of the part-time
This
employee?
is the salary ordinance. We have to put it in here.
Okay. Okay.
So
So-
yes, I would recommend the same $13 an hour.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I think that would make it easy. And I would just ask Mr. Mosby, is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, it is.
Okay. well,
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak?
well, there was a motion placed on my motion, so our Schwartz has gotten twisted. So I'm going to
Beg your pardon.
withdraw my motion so this can be addressed, this amendment, and we can vote on it first. It just makes more sense. Yep.
All right, I'm sorry, so the motion was from Ms. DeWald, and the second was from Ms. Underwood to add a line item for the Public Works to add one permanent part-time worker at $13 per hour. Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller-Novak?
I mean, is that, this is for the administration, does that mess up our staffing level or ability for you to?
No, it actually, to be honest, it does make it clean.
Okay.
It would begin next year. And so we would then, there was also a question about the hiring process, so we would just start a whole new hiring process with it as well. So it just makes it a clean start.
So you're fine functionally? Okay, thanks.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald.
So we're to understand then that there will be an announcement that you're looking for a part-time person?
That is correct.
All right, Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWald,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes?
Miller Novak,
Yep, sure.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you.
I'm afraid to motion again.
I'm getting tired of writing it down.
Does anybody else have another change before I do this?
I have a question.
That's fine.
Go ahead, Ms. Orb.
So according to, it almost feels like cart before the horse, so that's why I'm asking this. If this has the law director as 54,000, and yet we haven't passed the contract, what would happen hypothetically if this says 54 and the contract does not pass? Because, and the only reason I'm asking is because I know, again, we were in that committee meeting and we made red line changes to this and the changes aren't in this version. So that's why I'm asking that. You follow my thoughts? Am I convoluted
Yeah, I
again?
understand what you're saying.
Or do you just have the red line version of this contract and maybe that just puts all that to bed?
Well, I mean, no, I plan on just redlining it tonight. I checked with Bill. I mean, I could report that I discussed what we wanted to redline in the contract regarding like the annual review, and he's fine. He said, no problem. I just, been really busy at work, so I haven't had a chance to type it in. I figured we'd do the same thing that we did in terms of amending it on the floor tonight, so I did get the green light to do that. So I'm, when we get there, I mean, I'm happy passing both of them tonight. I would have been happy passing the budget tonight too, but that didn't work out. But as far as I'm concerned, I can amend the law director's contract on the floor the same way I just did the salary ordinance to make it work.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald.
so I'm going to ask a very sticky question. Why is Mr. Miller Novak typing up legislation that on the certification page, which we discussed at another meeting, says that it comes from Mr. Bill Dieter's law office? This will be the second time that he's done that. Why isn't the law director typing this up if he knew of the changes that we wanted to make? Or maybe I'm spinning things out of control. But I just don't understand why Mr. Miller Novak would be typing that up.
Typing what up?
You
Mr.
said you were going to
President-
type it up.
The contract?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
before we spin out of control,
Thank you.
I have a suggestion. So after we approve the contract and pass the salary ordinance, the law director will be required to be at every meeting. And then we can look right over, I don't know where he's gonna sit, but, we'll look right over at him and say, Mr. Law Director, I have a question. So that is what I suggest we do. So we can ask him all sorts of questions once he's here, but, I think we need to, let's not get into the, let's keep it moving. Let's go. I think we're good. We're there.
Mr. President,
Miller Novak.
I don't disagree with that. I didn't, just so it's clear though, I didn't type the contract at all. But he did do that, so I offered to do it. But nonetheless, I would like to, if we're not going to, do we have anything else about the salary ordinance? No? Looking down. Dare I
Little
do it
gunshot.
again? Dare I? All right, I motion that we suspend the second and third readings of the salary ordinance.
That's ordinance 11.
Ordinance 11, thank you.
I'll second it again.
Okay. Not asking for discussion. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Let me think. Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak.
I move that we approve ordinance, I said it was 11/2021 as amended.
Mr. President?
Ms. Zorb.
Second.
As amended. All right, motion from Mr. Miller Novak, second by Ms. Zorb to adopt ordinance 11/2021 as amended. We've discussed it enough. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
No.
A motion passes 5-1.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll still use this as the amended copy, correct?
Yeah, you probably want to give that one to Christian.
So, yeah, you might want to move that part up a little bit. Sorry. And when you're ready, Mr. Hedger, final reading.
First reading, Resolution 32-2021, resolution to approve agreement of employment with the law director.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak.
okay. You know, the one thing about the amendment that was discussed, let's see this real quick.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, it might be easier for me to have a hard copy for this. I do want to verify, I'm going to move to amend it now. So on section 1, I don't know if there's a perfect place to do this, but that's the way life goes. Actually, I think section 5 would make the most sense, because it is kind of a miscellaneous thing that doesn't really fit well. So it currently reads miscellaneous if any portion of this agreement is deemed to be, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's section 6.
Okay. I would have never taught math in Rome. So anyways, if any portion of this agreement is deemed to be illegal due to conflict with state or federal law, the remainder of the agreement shall remain full and force in effect. This is called a severability clause. This agreement shall supersede and remind any place all previous employment contracts between city and employee. I would do add their council may review the terms of this agreement annually. Period. I think is what was requested at the last meeting.
Can we use the word shall instead of the word may?
Well, shall means we have no choice.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Does it matter if we put like in coordination with the salary ordinance?
No, not really.
Mr.
I mean, none of it
President,
matters. We have the power to do it weekly if we want to, but.
I'm sorry,
Ms.
Mr.
Nichols?
President. Mr. Miller Novak, did you say section 5?
Section 6, and I got schooled on my,
He did say 5.
I did say 5.
All right.
Mr. Socks over here.
VI, not just V.
That's right.
Right, VI.
Yeah, just do it that way. Section VI.
VI. So, okay, so council shall review the terms of this agreement annually. I don't really want to put a date or anything, because then we can do it when we want to do it, right? So. So I guess I move to amend the agreement of employment under section 6 to include a new sentence at the end of the paragraph stating council shall review the terms of this agreement annually, period. That's a dot.
I'm smiling.
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Motion from Mr. Miller Novak, second by Ms. Zorb, to amend the agreement of employment with the law director in section 6 as stated with the additional sentence. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
before we make a final amendment, I wanted to discuss in section 3, and that's easy to define because it's just 3 lines. We don't have to worry about V's and I's. We discussed the last sentence of this section, that the city agrees to annually increase the employee's salary commensurate with the annual increases provided, blah, blah, blah. So how does that fit in with what we've just added?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I would argue that there is no position within the city of North College Hill that's similar to the law director's position.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
I would, of course, if there's 2 lawyers in the room, there's 2 different opinions. But I would argue that there is no other position similar to the law director's position. So it's not like the finance director, it's not like the Mr. Mosby director. I think it's just different. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry.
City
I just,
administrator.
right, I think he's in a very unique position. So to me, that sentence is there, but I'm like, I would, again, once he's required to sit across the room, I'd ask him, what are you talking about? Because there is no other position.
Well, and that's where we went with it the last time, because the word director kind of gives the idea that there's a group of people under him. And I just don't know if we still want to move forward. We talked about changing this or actually removing it. So I don't know if that is still the pleasure of council or just leave it there with the new addition.
Mr. President.
Mr. Miller Novak?
You know what? I mean, I kind of want to get a lot of these things done by the new year, and I'm going to take a leap of faith here. And I think that I agree with her to the extent that I don't think Bill will mind if we cross it out. And I would be happy to motion to do that. I just want to get these things cleaned up by the new year. I don't think it's necessarily an unreasonable request. I think she's right, so it's somewhat meaningless, so it shouldn't have much of an impact to strike it, number 1. And number 2, technically speaking, if he's already agreed to, we're going to review it annually, theoretically speaking, we would be reviewing his compensation annually anyway, so then it almost becomes contradictory. So I'm fine moving to strike that sentence.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
while we're in the amending mode, I move to amend section 3 by removing the last sentence. Do I need to read that?
Of the
sentence?
first paragraph, because there's 2 paragraphs.
Oh,
just
of the
motion's
first
clear.
paragraph, thank you.
You got it.
So I currently have a motion to amend the agreement on the floor in section 6. Can we just add this amendment to your motion, Mr. Miller Novak?
That's fine. I don't think that's problematic at all.
Is that a problem for you, Ms. DeWald?
Not at all, thank you.
Just so it's clear for the record, I have struck, which means crossed out, the entire last sentence after the $54,000, which is the last sentence of the first paragraph.
And Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
so I don't know who's going to be responsible for making the amendments, but I just want to remind that person, if they're even in this room, that when there's amendments made to an original document, and I learned this from Mr. Miller Novak when he first arrived on council, is that you strike through it and then add the addition. You don't remove it completely. Is that correct, Mr. Miller Novak?
That you don't remove what completely?
That you don't remove that sentence. You just you just strike through it
The official copy.
on the,
The sentence would still be there with lines through it, even on the official copy.
no. he's
I don't
gonna
know.
change his mind.
I don't know that that's the context of which that came up, but it might have been we were working on something over a period of time. I think the one that actually gets published, like, would not have the marks. I think with the charter review, I think that might have came up, and when you put like a charter review amendment on the ballot, it has to show the strikes and the additions. I don't think that's true for like something like
Okay.
this.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right, so we have a motion for Mr. Miller Novak, second for Ms. Zorb. And by the way, Ms. Zorb, you're okay with adding the section 3? Thank you. To amend the agreement of employment with the law director in sections 3 and section 6, as we have discussed. Please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yep.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I move that we adopt Resolution 32-2021.
We have to suspend readings
Oh,
first.
we have to suspend, oh, my bad. I know. No, I'm just trying to rush. I apologize. Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we suspend the second and third readings on Resolution 32-2021.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
I second that.
Motion for Ms. Underwood, second from Mr. Miller Novak to suspend second and third readings for Resolution 32-2021. Discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I just want to, it's no secret that I have fought many different battles with regards to this topic. So I just want to be clear that I hope Mayor Nichols will hold this contract to hold him in accountable to this contract, because it's really putting the ball in your court. So I hope that you are in compliance with council's desire for this.
Mr. President,
Ms. Nichols?
Ms. Zorb, as I stated before to you, I plan to hold Mr. Ditos accountable to this contract. I don't think he would enter into it either if he did not plan on upholding it, because he is an attorney, and, you know, this is just, what I'm getting ready to say next is just my opinion. He has a reputation to uphold, and I don't think he would want to enter into anything like this and not keep his end of it. So, with that being said, yes, it's an agreement on his end and on mine.
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, it's, I understand that we've gone back and forward on it, and that's why I motion to suspend the readings. I think it's time to vote on it. But I did talk to Mr. Dieters, and I definitely said, hey, I mean, I'll just be honest. I obviously am in support of it, and I let him know I feel like I stuck my neck out for him, obviously. I've advocated this for a while, and I asked, I obviously asked him to not make me look like a fool, and he, of course, said that he would not disappoint me, and he's looking forward to hopefully being here on meetings and getting to know everybody better and being a little bit more informed in the goings-on of the city. So, like I said, he had absolutely no objection to the amendment we already made, and I'm quite confident he won't object to the second amendment. So I just want to add that and kind of speak on his behalf a little bit and be honest and say, yeah, I mean, this is obviously, if everybody's extremely unsatisfied, I stuck my neck out for it and I supported it, and I take responsibility for that as well. That's it.
And if I may, I think it's absolutely the right direction to go, and I will be working with Mayor Nichols to ensure that we are holding him accountable, but I do feel that he's going to hold himself accountable. He wouldn't agree to this otherwise, so.
Proof
Mr.
is in the
Hedger.
pudding.
Yes, ma'am?
The proof is in the pudding.
It will be.
Well,
That's right.
you are absolutely right on that. All right, Mr. Hedger, please call the roll on suspending second and third readings for Resolution 32, 2021.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yep.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
now I move that we adopt Resolution 32-2021
As amended.
as amended.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Wald, sorry.
do we have a second on that yet?
Not yet.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Ms. Underwood, second by Ms. DeWald, to adopt Resolution 32-2021 as amended. Sorry, point of order here. We actually didn't amend the resolution.
Well, but we amended
I just
attachment,
wanted-
which is incorporated into the
All right, just wanted to
resolution.
make sure. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
That's cool. So
I guess that was maybe for my education more than anything at that point. All right, please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWalt,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yes.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
No.
Motion passes 5-0.
5-1.
5-1.
5-1, excuse me.
Roman numeral 2.
I had that same math problem when I sat over there.
All right. Next item on the agenda would be further, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that goes to him.
Mr. Hedger?
Yeah. Yeah.
This will have the amendments in it, sir. All right, further remarks from the audience as it pertains to legislation. And there is no one here, so we will go to old business.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWalt?
I'd like to bring up old business.
Yes, ma'am.
We discussed the traditional January 1st meeting versus putting it on to the January 3rd meeting. Does council have an issue with it being here rather than on January 1st?
I
Because
do
usually
not.
on January 1st and it's held at noon and, people, I don't know what that life is like the party till late in the hours on New Year's Eve. So, I don't think it was actually finished at the last meeting. I believe that we said, we could still party here, but did we finally agree on that?
Mr. President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
I'm fine with it being here and being on January 3rd. I'm actually a little concerned about a large group of people with this new strain going around out there, truth be told.
Especially the night after a big party.
I am also good with the 3rd on Monday,
Being here.
being here, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone opposed to the January 3rd meeting being conducted here as it normally would?
And before we go
Yes.
that far,
You do
it would
oppose?
be held at the normal council time.
Be on the
Yeah.
1st.
Correct.
The
Okay,
problem is I go to work on the 3rd.
It'll be the same, just like a normal.
it'll be a regular night.
Normal Monday
Oh,
night
it's in
meeting.
the evening. It's not at noon on the 3rd.
Our regular council
Oh.
meeting
Normal
time,
meeting.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought you were saying December 3rd at noon.
No, no.
December 3rd, 7 PM.
Okay. Yeah,
January.
I can
No,
do
it
that.
was
I'm
the
sorry,
first
January
meeting.
3rd.
Oh, okay. I got
On
my
Monday
times
brunch.
mixed up. Okay. Yeah, I can be there.
Okay.
We're only an
Oh, I
hour
hear
into it.
no
We're
opposition
all
to that.
slap
Like,
happy.
I'm at work.
Yeah, me too.
So I do have one question regarding that, because, you know, the January 1st meeting, everybody brings in their own person to swear them in. Is this going to be a group swearing in, or is everyone still going to do their individual swearing in?
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I thought the idea would have been that our mayor could swear us all in, and we wouldn't have to go running out getting all those folks.
And I'm glad to hear that, because I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Mr.
too.
President,
Mr. Miller Novak?
Is
I will
she fine
bring
with it?
my notary stamp too. If we could have like the written oaths too, we can get it all done in one shot. I could bring my notary stamp and
What's that got to do with it?
Does it have to be notarized?
we always have in the past.
Supposed to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Supposed to be.
Okay, so backing up, is there anyone who is going to be taking their oath of office on January 3rd opposed to having a group oath taking with being led by Mayor Nichols?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
so do we not have to be sworn in before we can have that council meeting?
That's how it would unfold, yes.
Okay.
So you swearing, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you swearing at the beginning, then the
Yes, we
meeting
would swear in
starts.
at 7, and then we would open the meeting.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
actually, I believe that our charter or the council rules stipulates that we've got, it might be the charter, that we've got like 7 days or something. But anyway, we're good on the 3rd, because it's our first meeting.
But yes, we will do that before we actually go through the business of conducting the meeting, or opening the meeting.
So we do it before we call the order, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, we probably would do it before we open the meeting,
Two of you or three of you.
President.
And actually, he's not even, so he couldn't even call it.
I was going to say, Mr. President,
Yes, yes, Ms. DeWald, please.
it should be done before we even start the meeting.
Yeah.
Will
so
be
that-
before we start the meeting.
Should we start the meeting at
So-
6, should we be sworn in at 6:50?
That's fine.
No,
No?
that's the
Okay.
one opposition I do have. Just keep it at 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Because-
be honest with you, we start half our meetings late anyway.
Well, it only
Because-
takes like 5
Because
minutes.
generally, that's like a special, but I know this is our regular council meeting. It doesn't necessarily have to be your regular council meeting, I think, according to the charter. I could be wrong, but it could just be that special. I know it's not a whole lot of legislation that's generally there that day. It's generally just the swearing in, and I think sometimes they discuss seating. I don't know,
Yeah, the organizational type stuff, committee
Mhm.
members, stuff like
at
that.
that first meeting. So if you choose to hold off to the second meeting in January to do business, like city business, you technically probably could, unless Mr. Mosby has something that's dire that needs to be on the agenda.
So catching up with what you said there, we would do our swearing in and then treat that January 3rd meeting for organizational
You
items, because
could.
we have to do that.
You could.
And if
Correct.
we had any other business that needed to be conducted, we could conduct it. Is that? Okay.
I think there will be.
I was going to say, Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
Mr. Hedger, can I have a quick rundown of what we do with the legislation tonight? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second.
Thank you.
By rundown, what do you?
Because I believe we adopted 32, so that
Yep.
would be off of the table.
32 is adopted.
Okay,
and 11.
and then, let's see. And then
Ordinance
we.
10 and Ordinance 9, we're having special
Ordinance
meetings.
9 and 10 are
special-
not.
So,
Yep.
most likely that would, oh, we need to set that up too.
That would be special
we do.
meetings.
It's a new business.
So, ordinance 11 was passed,
Yes.
so the special meeting would most likely be held before the end of the year.
Yes.
Alrighty, so we would have a clean slate hopefully on January 3rd.
Agreed. So going into this, unless someone says they feel otherwise, we're going to do swearing in at 7 PM for 5 of us. We will then go into our meeting. We will work on our organizational seating and those types of things. And if something comes up, that would also be on the agenda. Anyone opposed to that? Perfect. That works very well. So, any other old business? All right, move to new business. We do need to schedule a special meeting.
I would like to look at
Bug.
the 26th.
No, I'm still in Youngstown.
Okay. When are you back into town?
Well, we're driving back on the 27th,
On the 27th?
so bar some disaster or something, I should be back in the evening.
Mr.
What-
President,
What about Friday evening?
would it be crazy to say, be right before the rules and laws? Just take 5 minutes?
On Monday?
Yes. I mean, we're already talking about he's not coming back into town the 27th, right?
Yeah, it's fine for me. I mean, so the 27th we would do it.
So,
And it's not really an extra night, it's,
what time are you suggesting then? 'Cause the
well,
meetings start at
I'm
6,
going to be
correct?
begging the
30,
6:30? Is it 6:30 and 7:30? Okay.
yep.
rules and laws, can rules and laws start at 6:15? Are you, would,
6:45.
6:45.
that
Move it
way,
back.
The other
yes,
side.
sorry, yes, sorry, wrong way.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
if Marjorie's here, do I need to be here? Because I may not be in town.
Well, they have to have 4.
Well,
Well, we have to
no,
have 4 unless we can suspend third reading and.
because then we need to schedule 2 special meetings.
I hear you.
So if we don't have 6 here, then we're guaranteed to have 2 meetings.
What about Sunday afternoon?
Sundays are not good for me.
This
I don't
Sunday?
vote.
The day after
I'm in
Christmas?
Youngstown between
I'm not
like,
available.
Yeah, Mr. Hedger's not
Don't
available.
advertise that, Mr. Miller-Novak.
oh,
Don't advertise it.
I understand. I'm
I'm
picking
sorry,
up.
I missed what
Mr.
Mr. Hedger.
Hedger said he wasn't available.
Dur.
I'm sorry, you can speak for him.
I get your point.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Well,
I mean, look, for my money, we should just go ahead and schedule 2 meetings anyway.
You've been correct on that before.
I mean, is no one free the evening of the 29th this week?
No, that's next week.
That's
sir.
next week.
Oh, sorry,
22nd.
22nd,
We're all pre-Christmas before Saturday here.
22nd.
See, the 22nd, I can make that.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah,
Can you make that, Ms. Dukestein? 22nd?
I honestly can't answer that. My mom's in the hospital. I take turns with her, so I don't.
Well,
don't know
I
what
understand. My daughter just got out of surgery an hour ago, so
Ms.
I don't know where
Underwood,
I'm
can you
going to
be
be
here?
either.
Wednesday, December 22nd.
I don't see any reason why I would not be able to be here.
Mr. Miller Novak, I will assume you can since you proposed it. Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Do we know what
Yes,
time?
Ms. Blythe?
Yes.
Is there any way to schedule 2 for that night?
theoretically, I think you can. We have to have a break.
long
We
as we
did that
announce it.
once, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
Good.
And I checked with Bill when we did that, and he said we could do it.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Is
Whose
6:30,
idea was
Mayor
that?
Nichols.
is 6:30 too early?
6:30 is fine.
6:30 for anyone else?
It's fine with me.
That's fine.
Okay.
So to be clear, though, we're having 2 meetings. They have to be at 2 separate times.
That's right.
Correct.
2 separate announcements also have to go
Yes.
out.
Right.
Yes.
But because it's, I'm sorry, Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
do we need more votes to pass the budget? Do we need 5 to pass the budget?
Nope.
No?
Just a
Okay.
simple majority.
Okay.
Yes. The only thing that is pressing would be if we couldn't suspend readings. That's why we would need 2
Well, we'll
meetings.
just have 2 meetings. That'll be,
So 6:30 and 7? or
Take that long, sure.
or closer.
6:30, 6:45.
6:30.
I think the last time it was like 6:30 and 6:45.
Okay, so
Who will
when-
be responsible for letting Miss Marjorie know? Will you do that, Mike?
I can do that, yes. We'll reach out to her.
Well, if not, she'll have to get posted at her door is why I'm
Correct.
asking.
I will check with her. If she needs a posting, we'll get her a posting.
And
ready.
I'll commit, if we do that, the time with the 15 minutes apart, I can commit to the 22nd. I'll just tell my sister she has to hang out a little longer.
Okay. All right, so we're going to schedule a meeting for Wednesday, December 22nd at 6:30 PM. Two things on the budget will be Ordinance 9 and Ordinance 10. And then we will schedule a meeting for Wednesday, December 22nd at 6:45 PM with two items on the agenda being Ordinance 9 and Ordinance 10. Okay?
All right.
Any other new business?
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
with no new business, I make a motion to adjourn,
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I'll second that motion.
but I was hoping to be our final meeting of the year, but
I wore my Christmas sweater and everything for the
You gotta
final
wear it again. All right, motion to adjourn from Ms. DeWald and Ms. Underwood.
Clearly.
Before we call the roll, please enjoy whatever holidays you choose to partake in. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from me, and please call the roll.
Dukestein,
Yes.
DeWall,
yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Miller Novak,
Yep.
Zorb,
Yes.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion passed,
I
6-0.
just shot Marjorie at tax.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.